Welcome to India Today SoSouth with me, Sara Fazil. Well, we have all heard about the stretch from Mekhri Circle junction that's in the news currently, connecting us all the way to Hebbal. This 2-kilometer stretch is in news again, and this time for a frivolous project that speaks about wasting a colossal amount of taxpayer money to build a tunnel. Yes, you've heard that right. The BBMP under the Siddaramaiah's government 2.0 has come up with a plan, or rather proposed one, to build a tunnel right from this junction covering a stretch of approximately 2 kilometers and 3 kilometers to 4 kilometers substantial road length right till Hebbal in order to ease traffic congestion. But the question is, does this project even practically qualify in terms of the purpose it will serve?
With a one lane, for a single lane, would offer around 2,000 persons per hour per direction as its capacity. The same amount of width is sufficient to put, say, a BRTS lane, a bus priority lane, right, or a tramway, what government nowadays call it as metro light, or a conventional metro line. All this you can fit one track in the same width of 3.5 meter. Right. The amount of person capacity in this persons per hour per direction that these public transport systems will add is multiple times higher than what road would offer.
Let us not forget that the Siddaramaiah's 1.0 government initially had proposed a steel flyover on this very same stretch between Hebbal and Mekhri Circle to address the severe traffic congestion along this route. But experts like Ashish, who's a professor of IISc, tells us that why this particular project that he has studied does not serve the purpose it intends to.
You take the parameter of output divided by input. Output here is what capacity you're generating for movement of people, passengers per hour per direction. The input is the investment cost, the cost that you're incurring to build that infrastructure or to provide that mobility system. So if you're building a tunnel road between two given points and use this parameter of output divided by input, which is essentially what is the efficiency of your investment in terms of generating capacity. A road would give you 2,000 roughly persons per hour per direction, and a metro in the same underground tunnel would give you 40 times more.
This stretch where the 2-kilometer tunnel between Mekhri Circle junction and Hebbal is proposed to being built is the same route where the BMRCL, that is your Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation, and the Suburban Rail are already executing their projects to build their underground metros and their railway lines to connect us to the Kempegowda airport. At a time when these projects are already in the mode of being executed, should a colossal amount of 1,500 to 2,000 crore rupees be wasted by the BBMP on this tunnel project?
A road tunnel, you actually need to build a bigger tunnel because a road traffic has 2D movement. The right of way requirement is more wider. So you need a bigger tunnel for road. You also need to take care of ventilation, and the tailpipe emissions need to be exhausted, all those things. So the cost of construction actually for a road tunnel is higher than the cost of construction for a metro tunnel. The metro tunnel would actually be smaller because train doesn't move. So your tunnel dimension would also be smaller. So the cost of construction of metro tunnel is actually lesser than the road tunnel. Okay. Right. So now if you calculate this output by input, there's no way that you can actually compare.
While this ambitious tunnel project between Mekhri Circle and Hebbal is to ease traffic congestion along the stretch, the feasibility of the same doesn't add up.
Putting a tunnel road between Mekhri Circle to Hebbal, the capacity generating is for one lane 2,000. Even if you put 4 lanes, it will be just 10,000 persons per hour per direction, not more than that.
At a time when the city is being connected to 317 kilometers of metro line, 170 kilometers of suburban rail, should the government be wasting investment on a tunnel project with poor shelf life?
That what the city needs to survive and to be sustainable is a very dense spider web like MRTS network. That means you have a lot of radial lines because it's a circular city. Yeah?
Right.
You need a lot of radial lines and you need a lot of circular lines. That way, from any point to any point in the city, you can actually travel through a near shortest path with seamless transit across these. So 317 kilometer of metro network is already planned. It is part of their comprehensive mobility plan. Plus you have around 170 kilometers of suburban rail network being planned. If you put them, together and focus completely on its speedy and fast implementation, at the end you have 400 plus kilometers of MRTS network in the city, and it will be to an extent that people will be able to access a metro or a suburban rail station within a very reasonable, acceptable,
Given that the BBMP is planning this tunnel, stating traffic congestion between Mekhri Circle and Hebbal flyover seems like their planning has disregarded the real issue.
To give you a more specific understanding of this corridor, when you see actually, if you've moved on this corridor, whether you're coming from the city side and crossing Mekhri Circle and going towards Hebbal, or you're coming from Hebbal flyover side and coming towards Mekhri Circle, you actually move very fast, almost at a speed of 80 kilometers and above. Vehicles actually free flow during this whole stretch of the corridor. There are no bottlenecks and there are no jams in between at all. The bottlenecks are only happening at these junctions. The Mekhri Circle, because just as you cross Mekhri Circle, the Palace Road gets narrower. That also they've improved by widening the Palace Road.
Yes.
That has got decongested. On this side, because of the bottleneck on the Hebbal flyover, there is a congestion that spills on the road, and for that also they're planning some extra ramps. Congested points are actually these junctions, not the corridor at all. Free flow on this corridor with speeds almost 80 or above 80 kilometers per hour. So I don't know what parameter of travel on this corridor they would improve by constructing this tunnel road.
At a time when Bengaluru city's infrastructure is entangled in a web of poor planning with loose ends, what purpose do these projects like the Tunnel 1 stand to serve the taxpayer, who gains no benefit from it all, but rather will only end up shelling extra amount of money in the form of toll taxes to be paid for a hassle-free travel? I'm Sara Fazil, reporting for India Today SoSouth with camera person Shivu.